Hey, what's up everybody? Tonight we're talking electric guitars straight into an audio interface, straight into Ableton, and taking it from sounding like this to sounding like this using just stock Ableton plugins, no amp sims. Let's do it. All right, so in Ableton now, here's what I'm doing. Here's a breakdown of the way that I've got this set up. So I have got this effects rack that I've made here. I'm calling it Space Guitar because it just kind of sounds like it's got some space to it. Also could sound like it's out in outer space. I don't know. We'll have to see. So let me just run down the different components that I've got going on in here. The way that I like to think about this is that I've got pedals and then I've got a quote-unquote amp in this, even though we're not using an amp sim whatsoever. These are just the stock Ableton plugins, not including their amp simulator, even though I do have that. So I consider these three effects, the compressor, the simple delay, and the reverb, to be pedals on the ground. On my actual guitar setup that I use, physical setup that is, I have this kind of an order. I have a few pedals in between, but essentially compressor comes first, delay and reverb come last, and they go into my amp. Now, some people like to run reverbs that are on the amps, like a digital reverb or the spring reverb that's built into your amp. I tend to like some of the pedals, so I use it as a pedal in my chain here too. So let's just go ahead and listen to what these are doing. So this is just the dry signal. I've got all of these components turned off. Turn on the compressor. So you can just see we're getting some compression. It's taking down some of those big peaks and it's just reducing the dynamic range while also with makeup gain bringing up the overall volume of that so that things are just more consistent. After that is just a simple delay and I just have it set on 2. I have it linked. It's a mono delay then. It's not doing anything stereo. Feedback at 20, so a fairly short feedback. And then dry wet set to 30. So those two together. Kind of a little bit of a slap back. Yeah, that's real nice. Into a reverb. Now, one of the big parts about reverb, I like to put it on eco quality because it just gives it a bit of graininess and grittiness. I don't know how to say it. It's just not as pretty, but it sounds more like what you'd get from a spring. Also bringing down the size of the reverb tends to give it a springy sound too. And often, like I said, spring reverbs and guitars just go together. So all three of those in together. Cool. Still sounding pretty much like a direct guitar going straight into the interface, but it's starting to get there. It's starting to have a little bit more life, a little bit more movement. Some of that is helping because I have chorus on the reverb. I have spin on the reverb, which both of those give just a bit of modulation, start things moving. So then we move into what I call my amp section. So these two plugins I just consider to be my amp. I don't really even have anything changed all that much from the default preset. The only thing I have is soft clip on. For this guitar, it's a pretty clean guitar sound, so I'm not really driving it any. But if you wanted to, you could. I like to have it there just because the pedals hitting the drive, hitting the EQ on an amp. That's the way that it would work. Again, in this case, the saturator's not doing a whole lot, if anything. Let's listen though. Yep, not doing a whole lot. But if you need it, you can bring it up on the drive side. So now let's talk into how do we start making this sound like it's not a direct guitar. EQ, my friend, EQ, one of the most powerful plugins there is. So let's take a listen without it. This is what it sounds like. And then when we turn it on, yeah, so we're just starting to get that ampy sound, you know, kind of a mid-range boost, kind of that honkiness, and then a little bit of a higher boost as well, rolling off the top, rolling off the bottom to just fit in the mix like I need it to. And then finally, this last ping pong delay on the end, I kind of consider to be in the effects loop. If you don't know, some amps have the ability to put effects after the preamp stage, which would be the saturator and the EQ in this example, and they allow you to put an effect after those. So in this case, I've got a ping pong delay just set on 1, so it's fast. I didn't even change the filter settings from what comes from Ableton's stock preset. Feedback at 60, dry wet at 40, and this is where some of the space magic happens. Gives you a nice big stereo sound. Dry. Yeah, I love what you can do with just some creativity, some discerning ears, listening to the different aspects of the sounds to pick what you need for the song that you're making. In this case, it was just kind of a fun little groove, kind of dancey, kind of old time dance. I don't even know what it is, but it's fun. So that is how I take a direct electric guitar, make it sound like it just fits in the mix. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked this and this was inspiring to you, I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up on this and consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't like this, give me a thumbs down. Let me know in the comments why you didn't like it, what you would have changed, what you would have done differently. I'd love to hear from you on that. So hopefully this was something worth your time, and I appreciate you sticking with me to the end, and I will see you next time.